right. So first thing I want to start with, I want you to introduce yourself. Obviously, the basketball guys and girls that follow, they know your name. They've heard about you. They've seen you. They know that you're rising quickly. On the from the recruiting standpoint. But introduce yourself and kind of let us know who is Jaxon Kohler.
All right, yeah, my name is Jaxon Kohler, and I'm from Utah. I'm kind of by Salt Lake City. I've been born and raised there. I've been playing basketball since I was in first grade. Always loved the sport. Always loved to be competitive. Um, Always try to play at 100% no matter what it is I'm doing, whether it's basketball, school, baseball, whatever it is. I always try to go 100%. Super competitive. I play forward slash center, so I'm not usually the guy taking the ball up every time. I'm usually more of the big man rebounding. Um, and my game is kind of more on the block. Doing post moves and then step out, maybe do some pick and pop, shooting. And I play with SFG. With LeBron and Bronny. I play on that AAU team. And then for high school, I go to Southern California Academy in Southern California.
Nice. So, I mean, you touched on a couple things. Obviously, as an analyst, I take a look at the top 100 guys. Plus, I look at, a lot of the guys that are on, whether it be 3SSB or EYBL. So I'd seen your name a lot. But my first time seeing you live was at Pangos. And when I saw you at Pangos, I saw, I was blown away by your footwork and your agility and your ability to finish around the rim. And then seeing you play again at the event, the battle, and seeing you being able to step out and knock down, mid-range three-pointers, you really had a firm command of the pick and pop. Rashad Phillips and I talked about your catch radius, your ability to seal guys off. Just really, I mean, you bring so many things to the table. As I see that, talk to me a little bit about kind of how you've developed that, because you don't see a whole lot of that in this current era. It's more like my generation of basketball. So, who have you modeled your game after, and what has kind of been, your focus to be able to make yourself that type of player?
So I have actually studied someone that I don't think a lot of people know about, and it's Hakeem Olajuwon back in the 90s. Ever since I was in second grade, I've been just kind of studying and watching YouTube videos of Olajuwon and Kevin McHale. And I would just kind of, see one post move, see what they would do, kind of learn the footwork, and then go outside, do that for 10 minutes, and then go on to the next move, and then the next move, and then the next move. And then as I'm doing these moves, they all just kind of blend in with each other, Then you just kind of learn the footwork, and then you just kind of learn how to pivot and how to, pivot right, pivot left, pivot over, pivot under, reverse, And then that's when you kind of just get creative with it.
That's awesome. I think about that, and I think about Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, and me watching him play and seeing the maturation of the game, but also seeing him as a trainer and seeing him as a lot of the bigs this day and age, they are working with him and they're seeking him out, those NBA type guys. So I mean, that's a great player to model your game after. You mentioned being from Utah, and you were at American Fork High School. Now you're transferring over to SEA. Talk to me a little bit about, kind of growing up in Utah and how that's shaped and molded your career, and you as a person, kind of what you've taken from your experience there in Utah.
Being born and raised in Utah has been amazing. I love my home. I love, the state. I love all my friends. I love all the people, that I've met and grown up with over there. They're great people. The basketball there is, I think the basketball over there is more focused on like the details, and they're very like, it might not be like, how should I say it? It's not more of like kind of just pick up the ball and just go play pickup. I feel like the coaches over there and the things that they teach over there when they do basketball over there is kind of like the small details and like make sure you get all the steps right. Yeah. And I think those are great coaches on Utah. And Um, I love my all my coaches at American Fork High School. They're great people, and they've helped me so much through my junior year, and the support they've given me has been amazing.
That's big time. And I think that that's important. You touched on the details. Something you said earlier, just talking about, the understanding your post moves and repetition and working on those details. That's what, it's the little things magnified over many, many times, which can make you great. So it's awesome to hear that. It's clear that you've worked on that. And you've worked on those details. I mean, that has put you into that top 100 ranking. I mean, you're a top 40 player in the country. The work that you've done, the effort, the repetition, the training, all of that has put you in a place where you're ranked one of the top players, one of the top bigs in the country. How has that ranking and the pressure and expectations that follow it, how has it impacted your on the court performance? Do you feel like you have to go out every day and prove something, or talk to me a little bit about, how that's impacted you?
Honestly, um, that ranking, it's more of like you some people might see it as like oh, they might see it as like an excuse of saying like, oh, I'm this and that, but like for me, it's more of like, okay, I got to prove it today. Like I got to show everyone that I am this, and then the next day it's like, okay, I might have had a good game yesterday, but that's in the past. Now I have to go today and prove it again, because anything can change in a day. And every day, whether it's in practice or it's within a workout at home or like a championship game, it's always in my mind saying, you have to live up to that. You have to show everyone that you live up to that and they didn't make any mistakes. So you have to play, first of all, you have to play your butt off. You have to, do everything you can just to stay on the floor and work your hardest and run the floor as fast as you can, play your hardest, and then put the details to exact perfection.
For sure. For sure. And you're one of those guys that's lived up to those rankings, lived up to those expectations. Like I said, every time I've seen you, you have shown me why you're ranked where you're at. And coming into July, you had numerous scholarship offers. You had, plenty of options, and you've gotten some big time ones over these last couple days. Talk to me a little bit about kind of what the recruiting process is looking like for you right now, currently, what you're looking for in a school, and when do you kind of expect to start to narrow your list down and start to make a decision?
So the recruiting process has been great over the summer. With COVID being really like tough on the recruiting process, especially for the kids that are about to be seniors like this year. There was that whole year that they couldn't get out and couldn't, kind of showcase what their talents in front of scouts. It was really hard because now you're going into your senior year and some of them might not have a bunch of offers. Like they might not have a bunch of options, even though they might be really good. They might not have a bunch of options. So it was hard, but I knew at the end of the day that when I went to Peach Jam or this tournament in Augusta, that it would all just come together, and I feel like it has. And hopefully it's not over yet, but I knew that hard work doesn't go unnoticed. I think that's one of the biggest things that my family's taught me, and it's one of the great many lessons that they have teach me over the years, that hard work never goes unnoticed, and don't ever feel like your hard work is paying off for nothing.
For sure.
So when you're just kind of in a tough spot, knowing like I'm not being seen, I'm not being heard, I'm trying my hardest and nothing's getting out, just know that in the moment it might not be, or maybe it's just not clear to you, but to other people it might be, people might be talking to you behind your back, saying good things. Lately I've been getting some really good offers, from Cal, Kansas, Nebraska, Washington State, Southern California, USC, Iowa, Oklahoma, Utah State, Texas Tech. It is BYU. It's been a crazy, journey, because like I feel like it's kind of been a little quiet for a little bit and then it just kind of blows up.
Yep. Yep. And you sound extremely mature with your mindset and your approach to the game. How has being a part of this Strive for Greatness team and having somebody like LeBron James to talk to? And I saw, I've seen, he's worked with you on the court. And I mean, that's something that, 99.9% of kids around the country could only dream of. How has that impacted your development on and off the court?
It is honestly giving me, there's a lot of different ways of looking at it for me. I mean, one of them, first of all, is like every other kid is just being like, this is awesome. But mostly it's kind of relief knowing that someone like LeBron James, the greatest player in the world, and knowing that we kind of think on the same page, because when, he works with me and kind of tells me, what I should do when I face up, I kind of have those same thoughts. And I'm like, that's kind of a relief that we're on the same page, like how awesome is that, and then it also like matures you a little bit. Like, you have to be able to handle all of that like chaos around you, because when you play on that team, you have a lot of media, you have a lot of this and that, like people in the stands. But at the end of the day, you have to remember it's a game. Like, you're there to play. You're not there to go look at the fans. You're not there to go talk about this, talk about that, social media, all that other chaotic stuff. You are there to play basketball. And I feel like no matter what, whether it's the championship game of EYBL or it's just a pickup game or a practice, you are there to give 100% in basketball. You are there to play.
That's awesome. I mean, every coach, that's what we want to hear. We want to know that player is showing up and he's giving his all, whether the game matters not at all or it's a championship game, because you are your habits. You are what you do consistently. And the one thing about this game of basketball, you can't just turn it on, turn it off. Some guys can, but eventually they get to a point where they can't do that anymore. And if they're not accustomed to always being on, it catches up to them. So that's great to hear. And I know the guys at SCA are excited to have you be a part of their team going into next year. Talk to me about the decision to transfer to SCA for your senior year and, kind of what your expectations are and what you're looking to do, with that move.
First of all, it was a really hard choice, to go to another school. It was hard to leave the situation I was currently in, with my coaches and my friends, my teammates. But I think since college is coming so soon, I think this summer there was just one day where I woke up and I'm thinking, holy crap, I have 1 year of school, and then that next summer I'm headed to a university, or I'm headed to a college, and I have to start training my body. And I want to get as big of an advantage as I can, with being in shape and ready to go, so that hopefully I can get playing time as a freshman. So the biggest thing was development. And I know the coaches over there at SCA, Julius and Travis Nichols, and I've known them since like fourth grade, and they've done a lot of good body work and they do a lot of good skill development. And I know being in the gym for a year, doing that day to day is, I don't think I've been in a situation like that, where it's just, getting better every single day. And then not only the development, but like playing with some of these new teammates. I haven't gotten a chance to meet all of them yet, but I'm excited. I know that we are full of, 4-star, 5-star athletes, and, even just playing one-on-one after practice, is great, because you get to, every time you play one-on-one, you get to learn their moves a little bit, know how to guard them, and just kind of soak in a bunch of like knowledge, and it's just, it's good to be in that environment.
For sure. I mean, playing against top level teams, playing with top level players, that's what it's going to look like. That's what this next step is for you, this next journey off to college. Everybody around you is going to be good, right? And you have to get accustomed to, competing in practice every day against players that are, bigger, stronger, faster, you know what I mean? And so it's a good preparation step. I think that, I think Julius is amazing. Him and I have had some great conversations, and, I'm excited for what that SCA program is building. And when I saw you add on to it, I'm like, oh man, like that's not even fair. But, you guys are in a good position. I think for you, like you said, just it being all about development and not about anything else other than preparing you for that next step and that next piece of the journey. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. One thing I want to ask you, I want to end on this, whether it be guys in Utah, whether it be, the guys there at Strive for Greatness, whether it be SCA, when you continue to make your transition through this game and move one step further, and one step further, and one step further, what do you want guys that have encountered you and that have worked with you and that have played with you to say about you? What is the legacy that you want Jaxon Kohler to leave behind him?
I want people to remember me as someone who is willing to go through anything to get better. I'm not the person to complain. I'm not the person to disagree. I'm the person who is willing to go through anything to make it to the next step. I want people to know that I'm really hardworking. I want to get better every single day. I'm really competitive. I want people to know that I will stop at nothing to become the best player that I can be.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I'm cheering for your success. I'm rooting for you all the way. I'm going to continue to support you, continue to watch you grow. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, man. If there's anything I can ever do for you, I'm right here.
Thank you again, man. Thank you for setting this up, man.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Now go out there and kill it tonight, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir, coach. All right.
All right.